Sorry, I was gonna like start talking on the music transition, but I just realized there's like 30 seconds left of this part of the loop. Rip. Hey, hi chat, how are you? It's just me right now. I'm not sure why. I told everybody we were gonna do it, and several people said they'd be here, but it's just me right now. So we're gonna talk about the ban list. We're gonna talk about Dragon Maid support finally, and then we're gonna talk about dragons in general soon. Let me grab the graphics for. See, that's where I was gonna jump in on. Let me grab the Dragon Maid graphics while we're chilling. Also, just in general, for those tabulating at home, yeah, shut up. I know stuff's bad. So I did reset my rotational device today, and we're still dropping some frames. Intermediate frame drop damage, but it's still happening. So I truly do not understand why or how it decides to be good sometimes. Watch, we're going to stream Final Fantasy XIV tomorrow, and it's going to be great.
Is the Archaea eating the wire or something?
No. Honestly, there's actually no wires other than the power plug. It's all wireless. There's no outside hookup either. But yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, let me... Oops, no. Stop. I feel like I'm losing my mind. There we go. Terrible at clicking the tiny screen. But all right. Well, to continue stalling for time, because only Loth showed up so far, and even he was like 4 minutes late. Let's talk about Dragon Maids, because finally, we all knew. Every single person here knew that it was coming, because of the quarter-century Trinity box, which, as
We were waiting for it.
As I think MBT likes to joke about how it's like the third year of the quarter-century, because Konami's really milking the quarter-century 25 years effect. You know, I mean, they've got a lot of massage years, because technically the OCG's been out longer than the TCG. Anyway. Yeah, the lineup there. But first of all, we have Chamber. She got her dragon form, finally, as seen here, with currently named Stern by YG Organization. I also am pretty sure their name for the new fusion is also wrong, at least in the graphic. I think they fixed it later. It should probably be Ladies, not Lattice, because she's the ladies' maid. But Stern is the dragon form of Chamber. She's here. She's looking very, very dark and elegant. She's a level 9 dark dragon. You know,
At long last.
Yep. Now, is it worth it, chat? Well, kind of. So she got 2800 attack, which is pretty decent. First of all, her discard effect, her hand effect that Dragon Maids all have, is discard this card, special summon a Dragon Maid from your graveyard, or banishment, except Stern. Fuck you, summon a Dragon Maid. Fusion monsters can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effect. I think all the big dragons say this anyway. And at the end of the battle phase, bounce this card to the hand, summon a level 4 or lower Dragon Maid from your hand. So very universally very universally applicable, with level 4 or lower being all Dragon Maids, and her discard effect being pretty well placed. At some point, you're going to put Dragon Maids in your graveyard. So, and she can be summoned from your graveyard by the appropriate Dragon Maids. So, it's serviceable. Does this do anything for your deck, which is already probably struggling with ratios of Dragon Maids that do stuff versus Dragon Maids that don't do stuff? Maybe. Maybe. But all in all, it's good to see, you know, like we said, the second form here. And get everything out. And then the next one is Dragon Maid Ladies Lattice here. So this is a level 8 fusion. She's got 2,000 attack, but 3,000 defense. She's any 2 Dragon Maids with the same attribute but different levels, so basically big and small Dragon Maid, since none of them overlap. Must first be special summoned from your extra deck by banishing one of the above cards from your field and graveyard. I don't know if that's field and or graveyard, or if it's literally 1 and 1. That's going to be unnecessarily awkward if it is, in fact, 1 must be on your field and 1 must be on your graveyard. But YG Organization is only the go-to source because they are the fastest, not because they are the most accurate. Yes, I will continue to start smoke with these people.
I think they're usually like there 90% of the time.
They're okay, but they are much more focused on speed. Usually they update their website, but they don't do anything about tweets. So like I said, if that is the effect text implies correctly that you have to banish one from field only and 1 from graveyard only, that is unnecessarily finicky. Konami, the year is 2024. It is almost 2025. Stop doing that shit. Making Lattice basically a dragon ruler is from your extra deck is not going to hurt anything if she can banish 2 from graveyard. It's still easy to set up with cards like, you know, you like normal summon Kitchen, add Chamber, pitch Chamber, discard Stern, the new Dark Dragon, the big form of Chamber, summon back Chamber, get a fusion spell. Now you have Chamber on field and Big Dragon in graveyard. So that's all right. If this card's special summoned, you can summon a level 4 Lord Dragon Maid from your deck, so it's another extender. During the standby phase, you can fusion a Dragon Fusion from your extra deck by shuffling materials from your field and or banishment back from the deck. So, Lattice is a pretty good card. She doesn't actually, like, help you win the game, but I think she's another pretty good extender that basically gives you another thing to do if your opponent starts interrupting your plays, and it means they have to be able to do stuff on their turn, basically. Turn 1, you can probably, if you have discard fodder, make Lattice, you know, throw her in defense. If you can get a big dragon on the board, she's protected from card effects. She summons out another guy so you can set up more Dragon Maids, you know, get the chamber you don't have or something. And then during the standby phase, you can just make Shio on your opponent's turn. Or other effects. You will probably be able to do it, which, by the way, because they're in the standby phase, means that her effect's immediately going to trigger, so you can summon extra guys. It basically, it gives the deck the ability to summon more and extend more. And, you know, you never know. During standby phase is very funny. You can do a lot of things there. I don't think there's any, like, really good Dragon Floodgates, but there's probably room for, like, you know, setting up, like, normal lines to get, like, First of the Dragons out. You can probably set up something dumb with King Dragon we talked about last week, or 2 weeks ago, actually. We took a week off. But there's room to make this a lot of the extension. Once again, does this actually make this deck any good? Probably not. Dragon Maid is a deck that in the TCG has never been successful for anything other than as like a loose shell for Dragon Link. And on Lattice might make the cut in Dragon Link. The problem is that Dragon Links don't play any of the big dragons. So, like, they've designed this card to not be splashable. You have to be playing at least 2 Dragon Maids with the same attribute with different levels, which is not very common in splashing the engine. But I don't really know what she brings. I guess, you know, it's an archetype monster, so you want to do that rather than, you know, waste extra deck slots on, I don't know, Seal's Pass? Meh.
Who knows?
Yeah. So I'll be interested to play it around. I'm a big fan of maid rulers since they've unbanned all the dragon rulers, and those are all different attributes in dragons. You can do a lot of fun stuff with just like turboing out rank 7s and some other 7s, 8s, 9s, etc. But we'll see if this goes anywhere. I would also, by the way, it's a new week, new day. I'm going to talk about the ban list. I would like to take this opportunity, as always, to dunk on people complaining about how quote-unquote oppressive Tenpai is. Literally today, chat, on Master Duel, I went 4-0 with Tenpai. I literally had to fold 4 times. It is a literal skill issue. If you cannot beat Tenpai, get luckier. That's it. Draw better. I don't know how I can say this any more plain. Tenpai is not oppressive. You're just terrible at drawing Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
When you say 4-0, you mean like 4 wins or 4 losses?
4 losses. Sorry, I should say 0-4, I guess. I went 4 in a row of surrendering.
Oh,
Literally unplayable matches. I have also, by the way, I am on the record. I did tweet this at like 3 a.m. one time. The Master Duel ban list is a mistake. Chat, I cannot tell you how many times I have seen people do the fucking dumb make 2 monsters into Verte pitch Red Eyes fusion for Dragoon since they unbanned it.
Why is Verte not banned yet?
It's because it's an ultra rare. I don't know why they haven't banned him. He should go to jail. And maybe next list they will actually do that finally. But no, it's terrible. Like, again, I know everybody's like, oh, but DPE's a better card. DPE's a better card when you're playing real Yu-Gi-Oh! You know what DPE doesn't say, chat? He doesn't say negate.
Twice.
No.
The materials issues for it.
No. The negate is the negate's a hard once. It's the destroy effect, the board wipe effect on Dragoon. That's multiple times if you use normals. But also if you're running the Verte package, it's always twice. Because you always just pitch Dark Magician and Red Eyes. But yeah, no. It's just a free negate, and it is also, as X brought up, it is a multi-destruction effect. It's a board wipe, and it gains attack. So, like,
I don't wipe. It's more like Q-pop, depending on materials you put into it. It's the right thing, but yeah.
It's DPE is always just pop 1. And yes, he's a resummonable guy who keeps coming back, and he's like attack modulation. He doesn't say negate. He doesn't say negate, and he doesn't become 4K when he negates. So, yeah, no. Like I said, I don't know what Konami was smoking by. I appreciate they unbanned Dragoon. I do not have to do Mirage Dive on their HQ. He does have an animation. They are respecting the big boy. But, like I said, once again, chat, I am already up to, I think we're getting close to me running out of fingers on one hand to count the amount of times I have seen somebody go through their whole ass combo and then just go, Verte Dragoon.
Yeah.
Like, Verte is just not an okay card, and I don't... It's the dumb way Master Duel just doesn't want to actually ban things that's gonna get him killed. I have not actually seen anybody trying to run Masterpiece, so that's probably fine.
Okay, I think I've asked this kind of thing before, but like, if Verte required a Predoplant card, would it still be oppressive?
No, it would. The only problem with Verte is it literally requires 2 effect monsters. This conversation we have had, I feel like, every month since we started doing Yu-Gi-Oh!
I just think like all these cards would be better if they were designed where you required an archetype as material. It would like. It would
they would. They would be more fair. The thing is, Konami was thinking in a different way. Was because Master Rule 4 was inherently more restrictive. Konami was trying to give less restrictive tools in the extra deck to make Link 2s so you could, like for Verte, you could fusion summon and put a couple of guys in the arrow zones, like the Bujin is the same way, make a couple of Xyz. Anybody who wanted to make more than one extra deck monster needed like a Link 2 with those 2 corner arrows with the way MR4 worked. So they made them all really generic so that they would be less restrictive. The problem is that when they undid the Master Rule restrictions, because they were probably too restrictive for everything except Pendulum, because that's the ones they kept, those really opened up. And I think we've learned that lesson with Electromite still banned in TCG, Verte's banned in the TCG. I think Verte's banned both. Hulk, I believe, is banned everywhere, and Isolde's recently been banned on TCG this year. So like, the cavalcade of views, and like I said, if they banned Verte in Master Duel and they printed a new Predaplant Link 2 that did something similar, it would be fine. Nobody would have this problem. But it's a situation, and I really hope they don't. Like, Konami has really tried to keep Verte alive in exactly Master Duel for some reason. I don't know why. I think he even started the game at Limit 1, so it's not even like people are getting a lot of free dust if they, crush him up and snort him. I hope they bite the bullet. Like, they've done it a couple times. Like, they outright banned King Calamity like a month before Centurion came out, so I hope they can have the sense. But, like I said, it's just... It's real bad. It's real bad, chat. Anyway, if you want to know the rest of my Tenpai support, I got out-dragooned. I got gooned by a guy. He literally ended on Verte Dragoon Pass, but he had one negate, and then he had a Maxi as the last card in hand, so he Maxied into Ash Blossom, and I ran out of combo starters. Because, like I said, I assume it's because I'm not playing in a true to TCG meta where there are no Mulcharmies in Master Duel yet. All I got to worry about is, all I've got to use is Max C, which is, conditionally a guy you can work with a little bit. But, like, I do not know why people say Tenpai is oppressive. Should Sangen summoning read your monsters are unaffected? Probably not, but Chad, I don't think you realize how it's during your main phase 1 only. That means the whole battle phase full of interaction is there. Tenpai does not have many pops. Like, if people are shotgunning popping like back rower monsters, I want to know what they're brewing. Like, the combos are like stupid linear. It's I don't know. Maybe it's just the theory I know MBT has said about some stuff. Talking about, like, some decks are never meta because they require too much brain space to run. There aren't a lot of people skillful enough to navigate them. This is like the reverse, where, like, Tenpai is so butt simple that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players can use the other 90% of their brain to figure out how to out their opponent's plays or something. But, like, I don't know. It's just... Maybe it's because I'm playing, like I said, I'm playing the deck, so when I see the failures, I'm like, these are all the choke points. People who play against it, they just see them getting owned by the same combo every time. Summon out 3 dragons. Go into Biden. Biden attacks. Make 3 attacks. You can summon back Biden. Synchro Biden into Trident Dragion. Make sure you got at least 2 guys. Pop field spell, pop extra guy. Trident Dragion becomes 6k, attack 3 times. The game is over. But... there's so many ways to fuck with it, chat. It's like I said, I don't get why people say it is quote unquote oppressive. You just need better interactions. But hopefully people will assume it's less oppressive now because it is getting some hits. Because let's talk about the ban list. Let me switch tab. Sorry about the chat window crossing over with the card type of the ban list slightly. They have like made the font size smaller, and no, I'm not zoomed out in my browser, so I don't know. It's just a little weird. But I do want to say, presentation-wise, this is a pretty cool ban list. They announced mid YCS Anaheim that they were going to announce the ban list at the end of the tournament.
They announced it like it was a fucking wrestling promo. It was cool.
Well, yeah. So they started by midstream saying they would have the ban list when the tournament ended, and then, like I said, when they actually did the ban list reveal, it was indeed like a wrestling promo. Like, whole lineup. They had a guy come out with the briefcase, open it up, read the list, show it off. So that's 10 out of 10. I hope they keep that. I know that the crowd did the dumb thing where, like, after the ban list got done and Shifter wasn't on it, everybody was, like, super quiet and barely clapped. Guys, come on. You gotta have a little spirit. If you don't, like, recognize the thing was cool, they're just gonna not do it again. Would you prefer ban lists that are not announced ahead of time ever? That you don't have any awareness they're going to happen? They just kind of happen out of the blue? You got to give a little.
Honestly, I think there's reasons to, like, disagree with the ban list, but I don't think it's reason to, like, not praise it for, like, presentation.
Yeah, like I said, I'm hopeful Konami it takes the hype of everything up to before they like. Because I watched the video, the clip. Like I said, the crowd gets real dead after they finish announcing the bands, and I assume what people were looking for was Shifter or D-Barrier. Don't know why we didn't limit Shifter. Shifter's at 1 in Master Duel, and I think that's a pretty comfortable place for it. Shifter's an annoying card, and a lot of the new decks are going to be able to play through it, whereas older decks will die to it. So, like, Shifter to 1 probably would work, but I don't know. The TCG seems a little friendly on Shifter. D-Barrier is one of those cards that, like, people don't like, but I don't know if they're ever going to, like, actually get rid of. It's a really annoying lingering floodgate. If you somehow don't remember what Dimensional Barrier, D-Barrier does, is when you flip it, you call an extra deck monster type. Actually, I think you can call Ritual as well. It doesn't include links, I don't think. I think it's too new for that. But basically, once activated, your opponent can't... Actually, I don't think anybody. I think it is reciprocal, but nobody can summon that type of monster, and those types of monsters' effects can't be activated. So if you flip D-Barrier and call correctly, most of the time your opponent, if they're on a mono-type extra deck, they lose. And even if they don't lose, it's a really annoying way to, like, deal with monsters. But at the same time, D-Barrier is a card that's only really good in the 3-match format, which admittedly is the preferred format of the TCG. But outside of that, I think there's a lot of room where it's... The card is a card that doesn't do anything against certain deck types, so I don't think they want to necessarily Yibus it. But that's one of those things that, just like I said, it's always really annoying when it happens, but I don't know if it happens enough to be problematic. Like, for instance, chat, we also just recently got the Master Duel guide or meta or whatever. Sorry, I wasn't on my Twitter tab, so it had to reload. But I think it was Master Duel Guide. They just posted their, like, usage stats again. Yeah, it's here. I won't copy it on screen. But basically, Maxi is a little bit down. He is now at 87.2% from, like, 90%. But I think that's because Ash Blossom has risen to also 87% of decks. Like literally, Ash is now as common as Maxi because she beats Maxi and also does other things. SP Little Knight is at like 79%. Imperm is at 72%. Konami, can we print some better trap cards? Called by is 67. Crossed is 47. Barone is actually quite a bit down to 44. Valor is up at 43. Triple Tack, 41, and then Gear Gamma and Driver are, as a pair, up to 36%. So some things go down, but some things are crawling back up, and that's it's a little frustrating. It's almost like, once again, there's this one singular card that everybody has to defeat in the meta because it's literally the most played card, so the entire meta of, like, what's the most played cards... like, revolves around stopping Maxi. Yeah, you just missed the Dragon Maid stuff. We chatted about him a little.
I mean, I guess if you remove Maxi, I guess most people, would play like 2 Ash Blossom, I guess.
You might reduce the ratio of Ashes,
and then I guess
yeah. Called by would probably still be played, but would not be as vital. Crossy might actually just go out a period, because Cross-Out Designator is a way shittier Called by. I'm trying to think, like, you might see more Gamma plays, actually, because that's a different type of hand trap that does some of the stuff you want. And obviously all of this is Master Duel has not released any of the 3 Molcharmies yet, so that's a, like, meta that I don't know what that's going to be like when those are all... Chat, all 3 of those cards, even the one that's not as cool, are going to be ultra rares. They're probably all going to be dropped at the same time, so you're going to have to shell out for 3 copies of 3 each new shiny ultra rares, because that's what Konami's strategy is.
Okay, like, is, like, over half the cards in the game ultra at this point? Because I feel like that's a problem.
No, because they do still release a lot of legacy pack cards. Like, there are still low rarity cards. It's just that that's all the stuff that is already what sometimes gets referred to as pack filler, like what's his face? Jungler Ghoul, for instance. He's like a rare because he's a 2K illusion beater who's a normal, you know. But the Tao the Enchanter is a super rare, you know. Nightmare Illusionist is or Nightmare Apprentice is an ultra. They do spread them out. The problem is that I don't think there's any new decks in the NR format. I'll put it that way. Like, I don't think they have actually released a new archetype that has been low rarity, even when some of the archetypes are not good. Like, watch, they're gonna release Ryuge, and it's gonna be like 4 supers, 4 ultras, or something for the entire package. Don't know how, don't know why. But yeah, God help me when they release Malice. Hopefully they don't double it up with anything too much. I'm already fucking in peril because they've released White Woods, and then they also did the pack that is like the Dragoon and all the other guys released. Because all those banned cards they unbanned in Master Duel were all also ultras. It's a little wild, like I said. That problem I genuinely don't think is going to go away, because the people don't. Chat, how supply and demand works, when Master Duel releases a new archetype in like a selection pack or a secret pack and the rarity is really shitty, you need to stop playing Master Duel for at least a couple of weeks. You need to stop reaching for your wallet. I say this as a permanently free-to-play player. That's literally the only way things will change. Things will continue to get worse, in fact, if you keep feeding Master Duel money. But anyway, I am not Mr. Douglas Z for running at least 2 or 3 shows a week where I supply funds for myself and 3 other YouTubers to give Master Duel money. Nor am I the many content creators who have side accounts for Master Duel Masochist and probably need to buy gems so that they can, you know, grind out shit as well. Anyway. But yeah, no. Sorry. Master Duel is going to be pretty crazy when the Molcharmies hit. I'm just saying, those values are going to get weirder. But yeah, let's actually talk about the TCG ban list. Oh, that's right. I was like tabbing around to get to the list. I'm like, no, it's a separate window so I can grab it. You can see here news. Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. Prison. Everybody probably is correct. This is probably 6 months too late. We are not puppet locking anybody. But it's glad to see that they finally decided to hit it. Probably because for the last, like, 2 or 3 ban lists, people complained that it wasn't on the list, so Konami was like, fine, geez, if it's so important to you. Jaugen the Spiritualist, similar reasons. Also, he's just an annoying little git. Fuck him. Jaugen is one of those guys that prevents you from doing the summon. And as one of those matches I lost as Tenpai, by the way, chat, was somebody playing no extra deck Monarch. They tribute summoned a Vanities and played True Domain. Yes, such criminals still exist in this world.
I need to leave within like an hour 30. So like,
we're doing the ban list now. We're trucking.
Oh, okay. It just changed it a few times. It's like I don't know if we need.
Well, you know, when you said you'd be here, you should have said you would have been needed to be faster. I probably could have got started. I had to prevaricate because for the first 5 minutes of the stream, nobody was here but me.
I'm sorry. I was showering. I had to make sure. But whatever.
It's fine. It's fine.
I also didn't see the ping on Discord.
Like I said, there's literally only 3 cards actually got banned. So those 2 are hits to branded lockout strategies, and also just Jaugen has a chance to be really annoying because he's a light monster. And then OSS Snake Eye, Original Sinful Spoils. This is their like generic, if you play a Diabellspar, you can search a level 1 fire card. It's a good card. Some people are arguing it may be a little late that they get in there. I know that for some reason MBT seemed really sad that they hit this because like there are a lot of random fire decks that could play it, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. That seems like this is an opportunity to go to hell. Is just like stop this engine of
Okay.
any
I'm
deck
sorry
with
about
a level
tangents,
1
but
fire.
I was reminded of something that I was
Go for it.
actually disgusted with, and I need to actually tell you.
Go for it.
So I know you watched Rule of the Council, right?
Yeah, I listen to Council.
They had like literally the most garbage take about secret level ever because they just didn't fucking understand what the point of it was because because they'd never seen Love, Death, and Robots or what their secret level was actually about.
Yeah,
They just compared it because they thought it was like shitty B movies, but because they only saw the Pac-Man thing and not the entire list.
no. I also did not like that section and fast forwarded through it, but that's okay. I understand that those
It just means that they literally don't play anything but Yu-Gi-Oh usually.
I mean, probably, yeah. I actually literally don't think MBT plays anything but Isaac and Yu-Gi-Oh. Maybe they don't even know what Balatro is, but yeah. Because I don't really want to go to bat for secret level because a lot of I want to talk about this with Lucky on Friday, but a lot of press reviews were that a decent number of the shorts were fairly median to bad. And even now, I think the first chunk of episodes has dropped. I need to go watch them, but a couple of them are real good.
Sifu one. I'm only expecting the Sifu one and the 40k one to be good, honestly.
The 40k one is one of the ones in the first batches. People say that pretty hands down is good. There's another one that I think is generally being praised. Oh, actually, it's the Armored Core one is another one that's been positively received.
Oh, yeah. I also
And
heard
the
that would
rest
be
are
good.
kind of, yeah. And unfortunately, Axe, I have to warn you that if it comes up again, they'll hopefully be distracted by something else. But the boys will probably be vindicated because the Pac-Man short is one of the ones that is just, like, really weird and
Mediocre.
pointless. Yeah, it's just like
okay. That's sad.
It is actually a case of like I do think that one was a weird take. They did name check Terminal Montage at least, and Terminal Montage did do it better, but the rest of the secret level stuff is fine. That's one of those things that like they're talking about like, oh, we're going back to like the 2000s and other stuff, and I'm like, you guys don't actually know anything about this, do you? It's okay. They got their digs on Concord. Everybody's very funny about it. That was our bans. OSS is a card that certainly does stuff, but is hit. So, limits. First of all, Tundra to 1. You did it. Tenpai is no longer oppressive. Tundra is a literal required card. If you can stop the Tundra or they just don't find it, you win. If you guys don't, because I know you guys don't know Tenpai very well. Chandra is their only monster that is by default a tuner, and gets to special summon itself if you control a fire dragon. You can.
So there being one less just makes it so the boards are not explosive as strong, I guess.
I mean, you only need one copy. This is basically just like Konami is now telling you find Chandra or die. You can make one of their guys. Genroku can become a tuner, but only if you add it to your hand without drawing it and then special summon it by its own effect. Otherwise, it is not a tuner. And let me tell you, chat, the circumstances where you would be adding a Genroku to your hand, not by drawing it, is going to be very rare when you don't already have a Chandra in rotation. So I don't know. It's like... Again, it's one of those moments where I think they put you in just gotta have it, which is annoying but workable. Phantom of Ubelda 1. That's another thing that I think several people wanted. Phantom of Ubelda is a very powerful card that a lot of people were kind of annoyed that they were like, it sucks that you can do this twice, so going to 1 is pretty good. Sangen Kaimen going to 1. Sangen Summoning was already at 1. Kaimen is the quick play that lets you search a level 4 or lower fire dragon, or summon one, but if it's your battle phase, you get to do both. Again, this just means that because you only have one field spell that searches and you only have one quick play spell that searches, you are playing a game of do you have access to Chandra or not. I don't even think there are any generic like level 4 dragon tuners you can do to make the math in Tenpai work. People will probably still play Tenpai because the deck is cheap as hell. Other than the small business loan you need to take out to buy enough Molcharmies. But this definitely hits their consistency a lot. Also, they put Zodiac Barrage to 1. Don't know how we feel about this one. I mean, let's see. Where are... Dryden and Broad Bull are still banned in the TCG. So... probably nothing will come of this. But it is an interesting one to just be like, finally, we can let them out of the cage. Also, I'm not going to talk about it at length because I've forgotten until just now. But I was also going to say earlier, chat, I was distracted by having to solo briefly. Your boy's not having a great day. My bank has canceled my card for some unknown reason and forgot to tell me about it. So now I have to deal with the business of eventually getting in contact with them when it's business hours again, and figuring out my bills.
I've had a weird history thing of every time you have a problem with your card, you only notice it once it's not business hours anymore, and then they're not available when you call them the next day. And then it's a week later,
I'll
and
probably
it's like,
start
I guess
with
it's too late now.
We'll probably start with the chat process, the magical machine tomorrow, and see if I can fucking find a human being, or if the AI can tell me. Maybe Chat GPT can tell me what's wrong with my card. But yeah, so it's not the worst because I still have access to my checking account, and luckily my PayPal is routed through it, so I can pay some bills and buy groceries, but it's a little rough. But like I said, I will start working on that process, hopefully afore long, and hopefully it doesn't fuck me over too much with stuff. This is after a saga of my phone provider made me update my SIM card, but didn't tell me they were planning on doing that, so they shipped it to the wrong address after I moved, so I had to get them to ship it again. That I just got sorted out this week. As usual, it doesn't rain, it pours. So that was limits.
Yeah.
Semi-limits, all nothing. They're just taking shit off the list slowly. Cyberjar to 2, Danger Jackalope and Danger Tsukuyoka to 2, Ava to 2, Monkey Board to 2. I kind of don't like the Ava to 2, but I don't know what the world is like if people can just go back to Drytron. I don't know. This is one of those things that I feel like affects Master Duel more than it does TCG, because I feel like with the way crafting works in Master Duel, some people just never let go of their good old decks. So you will see people out here, like I said, repping no extra deck Monarch and shit just out of nowhere. I think the TCG is different, so like people are probably not going to bust out their old Drytron decks, but it does seem like a recipe for just old annoying shit to come back for no reason. It's like looking at the limited list, all those trap cards at the bottom there, and I'm just like, yeah, please don't ever semi-limit Gozen or Anti-Spell or anything for any reason. Though just keep them at 1. Monkey Board is also a nothing. And then the unlimits. So all 4 Dragon Rulers are back at 3. They were still semi-limited, so it's taking a while to go. Eve is back. Colossus is back at 3 after being at 2. Again, that's a complete nothing. I don't think there's... 1, there's truly no difference between 2 and 3 Colossus. You're not running 2... If you were running 2 Colossus in your extra deck, Thunder Dragon Colossus, you were not running 3 Dragon Colossus in your extra deck.
I mean, I don't really know why you'd run... I mean, I guess you could run 3, but 2 is fine, because you want Titan anyway?
Yeah.
Because, you only need 1 Colossus, because, you should think about it as, technically... doing Colossus is better way is also a way to just get into Titan, because Titan's actually the one you want on the board. Colossus is just there to make sure everyone else to not stop you from actually doing it.
Well, usually most Thunder Dragon decks I actually see playing Thunder Dragon like to end on Colossus and Titan, because that sets up your interruption, but also floodgates your opponent. But I definitely do not think going from 2 to 3 Colossus does anything about that. And there's not a whole lot of world of difference between 1 and 2 Colossus anyway. It was already a very narrow margin, so yeah. Interesting unhits though. Tiger to 3. It's a soft once, but again, that's other than a boon for common charity format, not going to do anything. Pank to 3, pretty interesting. They put him to 2. I actually think that there's an argument for running multiple copies of Pankratops is got some interesting room and hopefully won't be too oppressive. I think there's a lot of other tactics.
If only other Dinosaur cards were actually good.
Yeah, I know, right? Airlifters back to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other Dino Wrestlers are not that impressive. Maybe we'll talk about them sometime, but they're truly not as good as Pank. But yeah, Airlifter to 3. This is probably a format too late, but it's good that we've done that. Yes, I know you can't. You can no longer original Sinful Spoils for Hydrant. You just got to play your deck pure and hope like everybody else. But still.
Oh no.
I think I mentioned Eve to 3. She was already semi-limited. We're working here. And then opening of the Spirit Gates. This was the like temporary hit last ban list on Ubel because most of the Ubel engine was too new. And since they did actually hit Phantom, as we talked about, that's the bans. It was the limits. No, that's still the bans. Where the fuck is... Sorry, this tiny format. Okay, yeah. Ubel's here. Since they did do that, I think it's fine. I'm also, once again, looking at what's actually still limited in this, and I'm like, this is a little funny. All the Tier 1's names are still 1. They probably need to stay that way. Rat Pier still at 1. Probably the Sun Avalon and Sunvine they need to take off. Nobody's running Plant Link. I specifically want Branded Fusion to stay at 1. I believe that branded players should be oppressed, actually. Joking aside, when I talk about people who play tried and true decks, I am talking about branded players. When somebody is locked in on playing a branded deck, they are locked in, and they will not stop playing it, no matter how many hits you give them.
Yeah. They will continue running that deck.
So, like, I don't know why branded is so sticky that way, but it is. Like, I do have my preferences, and I still have a couple of my, fan favorite decks like Red Eyes built in Master Duel, but I don't play them.
Shade.
I rotate through a few things, but yeah. Danger is very funny. We like that. There's a lot of fun stuff here. But all right, let me schwaha us back. Is this the... Yeah. Here, you can look at Lattice for a second. Now let's talk about dragons. Since we have a dragon made on screen, it's very appropriate. So our pull-up is talking about specifically Felgrand Dragon and Felgrand accessories. The original Felgrand Dragon, who I'm pulling up his card art now as well, but Felgrand Dragon is just a guy who was released in the structure deck titled Rise of the Dragon Lords. It's their second dragon-themed structure deck. They already did Dragon's Roar, which was just a rebundle of all dragon support cards they had previously, and also added Red Eyes Darkness Dragon. Let's see, Rise of the Dragon Lords was 2007, if you're keeping score at home, chat. Did we not... Yeah, there it is. Oh, that's tiny. Okay. I don't know why it grabbed the wrong size. Hold on. Let me go back. Try it again. There he is in full view properly. So, yeah, Felgrand Dragon is released in the structure deck. He's one of the, like, few new cards in there. Otherwise, it's just... Yep, dragons. I think one of the other big ones was Darkblaze Dragon. Also, for some reason, the wiki likes to assert that the creator or creation like archetype is supposed to be linked to this because they printed Herald of Creation, which is kind of a the creator like support guy in this deck. I don't actually think they're related, chat. But I don't know, man. Now, if you're asking me, what the fuck is a Felgrand? No idea.
And Gates, I guess?
His name is just Felgrando Dragon. He is kind of a generic dragon-looking guy. Yeah, let me actually grab it. I did not intend to do this because it's not technically a dragon support card, but it is kind of related. Let me just grab it for comparison. Basically, it seems like what they decided, because Trade-In, I believe, was an anime or manga card first, was Trade-In has this statue of a dragon. It's definitely Felgrand Dragon, and they were like, what if that statue was a real dragon? That's Felgrand. So, yeah. I don't know.
I think it's in this case it's the have to be like the signature humanoid dragon, I guess.
Yeah, he is just.
Because they make a whole thing,
dragon.
like the whole Rank 8 series. The whole Rank 8 series about Felgrand.
Yes, there are a couple of Xyzes that were added. There's a couple of other retrains and stuff. So like they use Felgrand as kind of a generic Dragon Lord guy. We do get some cards about the quote unquote Dragon Lords that we will talk about. Though those are often just as much about normal monsters as anything else. But Felgrand Dragon, in case you didn't know, is a light dragon, level 8, 2800 attack, 2800 defense. It can only be special summoned from the graveyard, and only if it was sent there from the field, which, by the way, is terrible effect. This guy sucks ass. I don't know what they were thinking. This guy isn't even a Blue Eyes White Dragon. But if this card is special summoned, you can target one monster in your graveyard. It gains the attack, or gains attack equal to that monster's level times 200. So it can be pretty big, but it's got a restrictive special summon effect. You can't summon it from your hand with cards like Flute or other things we talked about a couple weeks ago. This card is actually a terrible target for trade-in because you can't summon him back because he's not sent from the field. I do not know what they were smoking with this one, but as far as like a dragon guy, he certainly looks fine as like a generic, Yu-Gi-Oh type anime dragon. He's kind of long bodied, kind of noodly. He's got a big pointy jaw, but that looks like it's, an armor plate. He's got contrasting colors with kind of like black, gold, and silver. So, we got something going on. Oh, and actually, I should say this.
Things are happening here.
Yes. It's a good baseline for aesthetic. Bad card. But also, I should say, in case you don't know what trade-in does, it's just a simple normal spell that says discard 1, level 8, draw 2. It is a critical card in certain decks, mostly in Blue Eyes and Blue Eyes accessories. You can run it in Galaxy Eyes, and can run it in any other 8-axis deck. But like I said, it is actually a terrible card to play with the original Felgrand Dragon. Now, they did release, like I said, a couple of weird dragon guys with just, like, names of dragons, Like, just... We're making a JRPG, we need names for dragon enemies you fight. We're gonna make up some names. Felgrand Dragon. This guy, Archbrave Dragon. Archbrave Dragon, also one of the couple of new cards printed in that set. That structure deck. He's a guy. Another dragon.
Yeah.
As you do.
I don't really hate him, but I don't really like him either.
I don't like it because it's a weird mix of being like it makes you think of a wyvern.
Sorry, did you say
Like-
this was Light Ray Felgrand?
No.
It looks like a Light Ray monster.
He does have a light ray color scheme. He is Archbrave Dragon.
What?
I'm just like, I just feel like there should be arms instead of like quad wings, or like there should be arms attached to the quad wings, the way like their body's designed.
He's kind of the upgraded version. Actually, technically, this is a later card. I should have pulled up the counterpart first. I didn't realize because my notes are organized loosely.
Feeling perplexed.
This guy's technically a retrain of another guy who's not much better, but oh, God, give me the small art again. Try it again. So Archbrave is from the retrained version of the structure deck. The original version is Dark Blaze Dragon. The dragon who blazes darkly. Color scheme-wise, Dark Blaze is fine, but it still has that same double wing effect. I think Dark Blaze is a better design because it's slimmer. It does look more like a normal, like, wyvern-type creature, even if he does have the double wings. Sometimes we do double wings just for extra flair.
I guess maybe it's just like wyvern are those that don't. Honestly, in this case, the wings look like actually like they're, at least in some cases, look like arms, kind of. So it's weird to me.
Well, if you don't have 4 limbs and you have wings, then yes, that's how they work. They are based on hands. That's how bats work. I do agree that the joints on Arcbrave look worse than Darkblaze. Like I said, I think Darkblaze isn't a great looking card. Once again, he has a giant jaw. His jaw is enormous. His chin so pointy. But I think he's better because he's slimmer, and also his color scheme melts my eyeballs less. He's just red and orange. Or red background, orange highlights. A little bit of a darker red in his wings. That could just be shading, though. But, like, black stands out. Little splash of green with his eyes. Arcbrave is, like, he's not called Light Ray Dragon, but he is got that Light Ray color scheme. Loth was correct. He's white and gold and has those weird, like, cyan highlights. Also, why does he have 2 braids, chat? Who braided this dragon's hair? So yeah, it's a very weird one. Yeah, we've heard of Ferdiad or Ferdinand. I don't think Felgrand is related. I think they literally just stuck the words Fel and Grand together. They were like, what are cool adjectives in English? Fel, Grand. That's great. Felgrand Dragon. Just like Dark Blaze Dragon. We're naming them like we're naming Star Wars characters. Shout out to my man, Therm Scissor Punch. Rip a real one.
Or Shaggy.
Yes, Jedi Master Shaggy. Rip a real one, man. He didn't deserve to be done in by General Grievous like that. Also, by the way, General Grievous is another one.
That Grievous prototype was insane.
It's spelled differently, but General Grievous's name is just Grievous. Yeah, like I said, Star Wars ass looking name. Darkblaze Dragon is, by the way, another card that is probably objectively terrible. It is a level 7 fire dragon with 1,200 attack and 1,000 defense. If it is special summoned from the graveyard, its attack and defense become double its original attack and defense. If it destroys by battle and sends to graveyard, inflict damage to the original monster's attack. So it's a crappy Fling Wingman, because at best, this thing is Red Eyes Black Dragon if you special summon it from your graveyard, and also has that Flame Wingman type burn effect. There are even when this came out in 2007, already there were better, like, literally just play hero and special summon Flame Wingman, chat. It's that easy. Hey, don't you talk shit about Jack Porkins. That man died a hero. 07. But yeah, no. Dark Blaze, bad. Bad card. Oh, apparently he's in the... He is in the card art for Telepathic Power. Why? I guess Psychic Monsters came out around here, but yeah, that looks like him. He's getting his fucking face melted off by Psychic Snail for some reason. Anyway, Arc Brave Dragon is a light dragon level 7 with 2,400 attack and 2,000 defense. If it is special summoned from the graveyard, banish as many face-up spell traps your opponent controls as possible. If you do, this card gains 200 attack and defense for each. Once per turn during the standby phase, this card's in the graveyard because it was sent there last turn. Target a level 7 or 8 dragon except Arcbrave, special summon it. Arcbrave is not a great card, but is better than the previous 2 cards, as you can expect from it coming out almost 10 years later in 2016. But it actually has extension plays for if you're playing Dragon Lord types decks, which usually are 7 or 8 dragons. And it does let you banish face-up spell traps your opponent controls. Gaining attack and defense. By the way, this was printed, as I said, in 2016. Meaning this was in the depths of Pendulum formats. So it is technically a way to remove your opponent's scales. So yeah, Arcbrave Dragon that looks worse, but is a better card. But let's actually talk about some of them Felgrand retrains. Let me see. Is this the main deck version? Yes, okay. This is the retrained. Behold, the Felgrand, the sequel. Divine Dragon Lord Felgrand. Or Kyoshin Ryu Felgrando. giant divine dragon. Felgrand. He's literally just Felgrand again, but shinier. Because we realized, chat, that the original Felgrand Dragon was not a good card. He probably wasn't a good card when he was printed. He definitely wasn't a good card when the revamped version of the structure deck came out. But art-wise, he's just the same. He's just the original guy again, shinier. So I don't think there's a lot to say about that.
Yeah, they're very shiny.
Yeah, we added a lot more sparkles and metallic shine. So this guy's the exact same stats as the previous one. He's 8 light, 28, 28. If he's special summoned from the graveyard, target one monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish it. If you do, this card gains attack and defense equal to the banished monster's original level or rank times 100. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target a level 7 or 8 dragon in your graveyard, except Felgrand. Special summon it to your field. Again, not perfect, but this is well after, and we'll talk probably about Dragon Shrine and some other cards. There are many ways to put dragons in your graveyard and summon them out of your graveyard. The ability to just target a card either your opponent has in their graveyard or on their field, banish it, and gain attack, including accounting for ranks, which is something that, as we've mentioned before, many cards were not designed with Xyz ranks in mind. And obviously, God help you, this doesn't account for link rating, but still. And it has a like battle continuation effect to keep swarming. There are probably better ways to play level 7 and 8 dragons. Like, honestly, I think, while I believe that, yeah, Loth is still muted, so he's still stepped away. But if he was here, he would be glad to hear me say that, honestly, Pendulum Dragons, like Odd Eyes and Accessories, way better at turboing out, like, high-level dragons repeatedly. But you could mix and match some stuff in there with Felgrand.
Yeah.
Alright. Our next guy, also released in the structure deck to facilitate some things. At least I'm pretty sure it was in the structure deck. This is, well, I double-checked that, Dragon Knight of Creation. Yes, okay. This guy was printed in Rise of the True Dragons and was reprinted for structure deck Rocket Revolt. Interesting. Now, chat, this may surprise you. You may think to yourself, this is a human man with huge pecs and deep abs and a sword and a helmet. This is a warrior. No, 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 chat.
This guy has dragon blood in his veins.
It's true.
And like 27 abs.
Yeah, no, he is ripped. But also, I can't tell if it's just a trick of his bulging muscles, but guys, is it just me, or does his sword arm look like it's bending a little bit the wrong way?
I think it's more it's a perspective thing.
Yeah, I think it's the forced perspective, but it's a little weird. But yeah,
it's bent a little inward because it's trying to do a perspective shot.
Yeah, and like it's bent along where the curve of his like forearm muscle is as well. But yeah, and get your jokes about your selections of high level armor. The guy's whole abs are out there, but he's got a cool sword. And once again, Dragon Knight of Creation. Also, yeah, actually, yes, I should acknowledge that. Zed in chat talking about putting dragons in graveyard. Yeah, Dragon Ravine is technically a Dragoonity card, and we talked about it in the Dragoonity episode, but its effect to just put dragons in your graveyard is completely generic, so many dragon decks play it just for that purpose. But Dragon Knight of Creation is a level 4 light dragon with 1800 attack, 600 defense. Pretty decent stat. Increase this card's level by 4 during your opponent's turn only. I'm not sure exactly how you're going to make that one work, but it's very funny.
Yeah.
When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to graveyard, you can send a level 7 or 8 dragon from your deck to the graveyard. You can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, target a level 7 or 8 dragon in your graveyard. Send this card to the graveyard. If you do special summon this monster, you can only use this effect once per turn. So, if you are playing some kind of level 7 or 8 dragon strategy, which is why this guy was reprinted in the Rocket deck, because those guys kind of bounce back and forth between, 4s and 7s. And I think they have a couple of 8s, but they usually do, like, 4 or lower or 7 to make, like, certain Xyz combos or shit like Borreload work. But yeah, Dragonite is not a terrible card for when it came out. The level 4 during your opponent's turn only is just a really weird effect. I don't actually know if there's any tools in this deck to, like, set up for an Xyz play on your opponent's turn, so it may just be to, like, give it protection from some of your other support cards. But it's a weird one. But its effect to send a guy to graveyard by destroying by battle and having decent stats, not terrible. And its effect, just normal summon a guy, pitch a card to grave, summon a 7 or 8. Decent stuff. Next up, we bring forth... Oh, it's small again. I'm losing my mind.
He's going crazy.
Guardian of Felgrand. This is a human man. Therefore, he is a warrior. I will let him percolate through chat for a sec while I step across the room and grab my bottle of water.
Okay, let's see when my stream catches up.
Yeah. It's a guy with kind of... That is
What
a human
the
man.
Fuck?
It's like a weird, like, ring... It's like a weird, like... It's like a throwing axe cut.
This is a side character you'd see in one of those MMO animes.
No, Loth. This guy is a Fire Emblem.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
like... Yeah, this guy's not this backup character. Just Fire Emblem.
And yes, I do think you are correct, Axe. I do think that the
It has a ring at
axe
the end.
he's
So
holding is...
I think you should throw it because you basically can like bring it around your hand and basically build momentum and then grab it and throw it.
Yeah, I think it's a hand axe, despite the fact that it's taking up most of the screen. Otherwise, like, jokes about this guy being a generic anime-ass guy aside, which he is, it's not a terrible design.
Hector. Fuck no.
We have Hector at home.
Hector at home.
Hector at home, Guardian of Felgrand. This guy's probably not as cool as Hector. So, this guy is a level 4 light warrior with 500 attack and 500 defense. Sounds bad, right? If this card is normal or special, equip a level 7 or 8 dragon from your hand or graveyard to this card. This card gains attack and defense equal to half the attack and defense of that monster. So if you're equipping, for instance, Big Felgrand, who's 28, you would get 14, which is plus 5, so he's 19. So not terrible, but still very convoluted. Also, you contribute one monster and this card, target a level 7 or 8 dragon in your graveyard, special summon it. I think a lot of these Felgrand support guys have a real problem of way too many of them make you go minus, like, neg 1 or 2. For no real good reason. I don't know in 2016 what level 8 or 7 dragons they were afraid of. Maybe they were worried about, because a lot of these guys are also all lights, they were worried about, like, setting up, like, Galaxy OTKs too easily. Not that, again, that doesn't matter. You truly do not need to play any sub-engines in Galaxy. There are so many Galaxy and Cypher cards.
Listen, you have enough, your deck will be full enough, you just only play the good ones.
Yeah, no, like, I don't think there's a need for, like we said, like, a sub-engine here, but it's a weird strategy. Again, he's not...
Like, you play the Xyz cards because just having more tools in your fucking toolbox is fine,
Yeah.
but that's different, you know?
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know why he's so convoluted, right? Like, you can special summon this guy or normal summon him, equip a dragon, gain attack.
I will say a rank 8 dragon deck where you play Dragon Ravine, not Dragon Ravine, but you see like you play what's the card, the Dragon Burial card, where you basically double
Dragon Shrine.
push.
If you
Yeah,
pitch
you
a
play
normal, you can
Dragon
pitch a
Shrine.
second dragon.
Yeah, so like you play the cards that let you summon level 7 or 8 dragons. That's the deck you're playing this in.
Yeah, basically.
So like I guess it's basically if you have like just what is it target, like on field or like engrave?
Guardian equips from your hand or graveyard.
Yeah, so like it works if you're playing the level like the rank 7 or something 8 dragon deck.
Yeah, and I believe this would be after Queen Dragon Jin came out. She is a generic 4, so like having these extra guys who are level 4 is not terrible. But it's still a really weird case of like, because like, yeah, no, you are absolutely correct that this is a strategy. The problem is that it's like he's tribute himself and one other monster on your board to get out a 7 or 8 in your graveyard, and it's just like, why not just tribute him? He's already just a guy. So you have to go -1 a lot. Same with like Dragon Knight of Creation makes you discard a card and send him. And I'm sure our next card, Paladin of Felgrand, will do the same thing. Warning, chat. Paladin of Felgrand, once again, another like, you know, you expect to see this guy, you know, on next season's Anime Core or on the cover of a Chinese bootleg Fire Emblem, like. He's very generic. He does have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Ass hairstyle. His hair looks like a wing. And we got, like, an interesting kind of curved sword design with also the big ring. But otherwise, I would not be able to tell you this was any particular warrior-type monster in Yu-Gi-Oh!, you know? Like, just a guy.
Okay, let's have a better. So, my earlier comment about the other guy being from generic MMO anime, this is the protagonist or the quote-unquote hero from.
This is a Lord
great
character,
MMO anime.
or this is at least a Knight character.
Yeah, he does have very, like, generic anime protagonist vibes.
I think one of the Felgrands is just infused with the dragon or something.
I do think so. That will make sense in a second because let me read this guy's effect to you real quick, chat. This is another Light Warrior level 4. This guy only has 1700 attack and 300 defense, but if Paladin of Felgrand is normaled or special summoned, you can equip a level 7 or 8 dragon monster from your hand or deck to this card. So it lets you fetch from deck, which can be very powerful. Also, this card is unaffected by other monsters' effects when equipped with an equip card. You contribute one other monster and this card, target a level 7 or 8 in your graveyard, summon it. Level 7 or 8 dragon. So it has the same effect as Guardian, but it equips from deck, and it is unaffected by monster effects. Honestly, if you were trying to hard rep this kind of like 4s and 8s generic dragon strategy, this is probably still a decent card, because it lets you thin your deck, you know, so you're bricked up less, and it becomes unaffected, so... This means that, like, its effect is going to be harder to negate. He's going to be harder to interrupt. Just a really interesting guy. And I think they correctly did not give it an attack boost when it did that because that would be bad to have this guy as a free towers. Because you're literally not going to play this guy if you don't have 7s or 8s to equip, you know? But I think that effect does explain kind of how we get to this next step, which is one of the monsters you probably have seen, chat. The Xyz monster, Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. Shin Ryukishi Felgrando. Hard to tell because he was a secret rare, so it's all just a blur. But you can see in the clear art here that, yes...
Oh, yeah, you actually can see it. It's the guy in, like, the Felgrand armor.
Yeah, it's clearly Paladin wearing Felgrand as armor. Or wearing Felgrand's armor, because I do think the original Felgrand dragon was technically armored. Anyway, look, you know, for a Dragon Knight, he's looking pretty good.
Like a Saint Seiya moment.
Yeah.
Very Saint Seiya.
I'm a little concerned about, like, the upper thigh armor spikes, but you can't say that they're incorrect. I do like that his, like, the wings straight up become a cape. So they still have, like, the wing texture, but they're cape-shaped. That's cool.
Yeah, instead of giving him weird wings on the armor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was going to see the Felgrand shadow in the back.
Yeah, you know, they're doing the wombo. So this is a, and this is the one thing that is a little weird about this. This is a Light Warrior Ixie, rank 8, 2800 attack, 1800 defense. Again, don't know why they skimped on the defense. It is completely generic, though. Any 2 level 8s can make this. Once per turn, during either player's turn, detach an Xyz material, target a face-up monster on the field. This turn, its effects are negated, but it is unaffected. So this is a card that was actually, I think, let me double-check when Paladin was printed exactly. Yeah, so technically, this guy, Divine Dragon Knight, came first. He was printed in Shadow Specters as like a chase card in 2013 as just kind of generic Xyz support. Later, they put Paladin in the structure deck as like trying to figure out what that guy looked like under this armor, which is probably kind of like how they shaped his effects. But this does strike me as a little weird that this card is a warrior and not a dragon. But obviously, they didn't know in 2013 that they were turning Felgrand into like a actual theme of like 7s and 8s dragons, and he's still makeable because he's generic. But yeah, this card's a card that can be really annoying in 8 decks. These days, I think there are probably usually better generic 8s you can play, but a 2800 beater who just is a quick effect, negate a monster's effects for the turn, very solid. Also, because it works as unaffected by other card effects, you can use it as protection. If you don't need a monster's effect while face up, you can just, use it like a forbidden, chalice type thing. And I think I'm going to grab some directly related, Felgrand related spell cards. But these are the cards I believe Axe was talking about earlier, talking about generic ways you can get back dragons, right? Our first one is this Return of the Dragon Lords, which has a way better name than the OCG name. This was just generically Fukatsu no Fukuin, Gospel of Revival. So, like, thematically sounds kind of like, Flute of Summoning or Melody of Awakening, but Return of the Dragon Lords sounds way cooler.
This makes much more sense now.
Oh, Divine Dragon. He was last reprinted in the 2014 tins. He has not been printed since then. I know. Meanwhile, this card, Return of the Dragon Lords, has been reprinted in basically every dragon deck you would expect. It was in Rise, it was in the Kaiba Mega Pack, it was in the Rocket Revolt structure deck I mentioned earlier, and it was reprinted in every rarity known to man in the Quarter Century Bonanza. So this is a very common place card you will see in dragon decks. Good art. This kind of, I think, puts together the story of the Divine Dragon Knight. This is clearly a big statue to Felgrand, and that's obviously Paladin praying to it. He's a member of the Dragon Communion, guys.
Oh, he's got to go kill the father of Drakes now because that man killed that guy main dragon god.
Guys, I need to let you know just how hard I had to fight the urge to yell out, "Curse you, Bale."
I mean, I was avoiding that too.
I know. You brought it up, but I'm like, I shouldn't.
I was just saying the actual theological part, the actual intellectual part of it.
But yeah, no. This is a card that you probably know what it does if you play 7s or 8s dragons. Target a level 7 or 8 dragon monster or graveyard, special summon. If a dragon you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, banish this instead. Good card. You see this in any deck that runs 7s or 8s dragons and can use it.
Yeah, and more often than not, with that secondary effect, you can see it being added to a lot more cards and shit.
Yeah, just it's any dragon battle protection is really good. And like I said, 7s or 8s, like, I think the only reason why I don't run it in Red Eyes is just because there's too many goddamn Red Eyes cards. Red Eyes is like Galaxy at this point, except your ability to stun your opponent is you make a negate instead of you make a big asshole they can't stop. You just like, I made Dragoon, what are you going to do?
Only Red Eyes Fusion did more.
Yeah. Someday they'll retrain Red Eyes Fusion. That, or I'll get into playing the fucking Metal Morph deck with like Metal Flame Swordsman and the Heavy Metal Red Eyes. Our next card is Ruins of the Divine Dragon Lords, which is actually fairly literal in Japanese. Kyoshino no Iseki, it's Ruins of the Giant God Dragons. Now, chat, you may think to yourself, this is a field spell. No. This is printed after Dragon Ravine. We understand that generic dragon decks have a field spell. We cannot take that away from them. So this is a continuous spell card.
Has it ever been a thing that you... Honestly, have they made actually a continuous spell searcher yet?
I always
There are
wondered why
a
this
couple
was
of
a
cards which can
continuous spell.
Because I feel like a
search continuous
spell
spell cards. They're usually part of specific archetypes. They probably should come up with some, rather than printing 9 million AFDs. They should probably come up with a way to let other cards do some work. So Ruins of the Divine Dragonlord is a continuous spell card that says, if a monster's is special summoned except from the graveyard while you control a level 7 or 8 dragon monster, negate that special summoned monster's effects until the end of this turn, even as card leaves the field. Once per turn, you can send one other face-up card you control to the graveyard, special summon a Dragonlord token, Dragon Light level 1/0/0. If this card's in your graveyard, you can send 1, 7, or 8 from your hand or field to the graveyard, add this card to your hand. Again, if you are playing the hypothetical generic level 7 or 8 dragon deck, this card is an auto-include. It is a... If your opponent special summons a guy while you control a 7 or 8 dragon, it is negated. That is not a once per turn at all. That is just a continuous effect that if your opponent special summons guys while you control a big dragon, they are negated for the rest of this turn. Unless they're special summoned from the graveyard. So, a floodgate for very specific decks. It also lets you summon a token. I'm not really sure why they went with token generation. I guess it's to get tribute fodder?
I guess.
And to recycle your dragons. Because this is pre-link format. These days, able to send a card to special summon a free dragon token for link summoning is probably really good. It is also normal, so that means you can summon Link Spider off it, too. And if it's in your graveyard, it lets you cycle out dragons in your hand to add this card back. Another, like I said, very good card, only hampered by the fact that, one, there is no good way to search it. You just got to play 3 and pray. And, like I said, the hypothetical level 8 or level 7 generic dragon deck doesn't really exist. If it did exist, it would be called Dragon Link, but... the rocket part of that package really loves the 4s as much as it loves the 7s, you know? So like I said, I don't think you need the help. And then for some reason, recently, in the year, I want to say, was it 2022 in Dimension Force, we decided to give Felgrand a zombie retrain.
Yes.
Skeletal Dragon Felgrand.
I didn't know that one. I didn't know about this.
The token is level 1, Zed. That could set up some synchro plays, I think, but it's not like a huge deal. But yeah, Skeletal Dragon Felgrand is Felgrand, but skeleton. Like, he's mostly skinless. You can kind of like see his finger joints and his like spine joints in the back, and his like shiny armor plates on his chest are like bony now. And now he's got like this sick purple glow to him. That's it. Send tweet. And that's fine. This guy looks great.
Yeah.
No notes.
It's scary looking.
Yeah.
Looks like a Souls. It looks like a thing you'd fight in a Souls game.
Yes, it's a thing you would fight exactly once in a Souls game, because they love to hide a dragon guy for you to fight, usually in the DLC.
Curse you, Felgrand.
Ironically, it fails a Drake.
I actually think that is technically ambiguous. He's shaped like a drake, but he was around at the same time as the ancient dragons.
Well, no, like in the lore, he is the father of drakes. All drakes are his spawn.
Yeah, I guess
That's why it's the whole thing in like the
the
Dragon
first
Church
Drake
that like
he is.
killing drakes is a divine thing to do, because it's basically killing demon spawn, essentially their religion.
Yeah, it's that I actually do love is the added bit of lore to Erdtree is the fact that the Church of Dragon Communion is like a psyop to get humans to kill more drakes, because they're still really mad at Baal for good reason.
Because the father of drakes maimed literally their god.
Yeah, the Dragon Lord lost
He
some heads.
He cut off
fight.
like 3 of his guys' heads. Like
But
they fought each other. It was just, yeah.
Skeletal Dragon Felgrand is a level 8 light zombie synchro. So have some fun with that one. It's also 28/28, It is not completely generic. It does require a zombie tuner and one or more non-tuners, but he doesn't require Plague Spreader zombies, so like we're improving. Hard to play outside of zombie synchro. If this card is special summoned, target a monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard, banish it. Very similar to the retrained Felgrand. You don't gain attack, but it is still a banish. If a monster is special summoned from either graveyard while this card is on the field, except during the damage step, target one of the face-up monster on the field, negates effects until the end of this turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, Skeletal Dragon Felgrand, not useful at all in the actual dragon deck that Felgrand is from, but basically combines the effects of both the retrained main deck Felgrand and the Xyz Felgrand into one zombie synchro monster package. Great guy. Great addition to zombie synchro decks. Just giving you a level 8 you can make who does the business. It's a negate or and a banish, probably. And now we'll talk about a couple more generic dragon cards that are also related. Good opportunity to talk through a lot of this support. First up, Dragon Shrine. We've mentioned it a couple of times. Its name in Japanese is Ryu no Reibo, literally Dragon Shrine.
Welcome to the Dragon
Oh wow,
Graveyard.
it's literally like they literally put stone fences around like skeletons.
Yeah, it's the translation is literal, but I think we could have done a little bit of creative localization and
Dragon
said like
Burial?
dragon burial or dragon graveyard, because I think that's what we're going for here. But yeah, these are just dragon bones that are arranged in a vaguely religious space that are kind of like bricked in, just chilling in a wide open field. It's a good look. Very striking. Most people probably like have a vague idea of what's going on in this card art, even if it is small. But Dragon Shrine is a normal spell that just says send a dragon monster from your deck to your graveyard. If that monster in your graveyard is a dragon normal monster, which by the way does mean that I do believe Gemini's count, you can send one more dragon monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only activate one Dragon Shrine per turn. This is a card that, like I said, this is completely unburdened from Felgrand. There is no like real aside from it. Technically, I think because of future of upcoming Blue Eyes cards, we're trying to claim very directly this is a Blue Eyes card, because the Retrain of Maiden, Maiden of White, and one of their new spell cards, Wishes for Eyes of Blue, basically show Maiden in the Dragon Shrine area. But it is truly a generic dragon support card. It has never been more generic than that. You can play it in Blue Eyes, you can play it in Red Eyes, you can play it in Felgrand, obviously. You could play it in Holy Night or Starry Night, you know. Anything where you're sending dragons, you want a Foolish Burial a dragon is great. And if you use it to bin normals, like I said, you actually get to bin 2, which can be all the setup you need. And then we're going to talk about next, a very familiar guy. Who might be in charge of the Dragon Shrine, you might ask? Well, it's the Keeper of the Shrine. And as you can see, chat, this is very clearly a dragon man. A man-dragon. He's chilling.
This man is a dragon. This guy is like. This guy ate enough dragon things to be like the Ascendant and like the Dragon Ascendants in like 3.
Well,
but also just.
he also might have
Better
just
you
like
see
be
this-
achieving his dragon form by meditating, because he is, kind of lotused. But yeah, he's chilling in the shrine.
I don't know why this guy just makes me think of Kiat Mundi from Star Wars.
It's because he has a weird head.
Yeah.
I like him, but he does have an oddball head.
Also, sorry,
Yeah.
I was a bit distracted because I'm like, yeah, let's see if we can get some Ghost Front Lane 2, and still getting that bug on that one map, so I can't progress the story.
Interesting.
Ugh.
A Maragan, if you will, yes.
Ugh, Maragan, ugh, ugh.
Sorry, YouTube sent me a little alert. Yeah, the frames have gotten a little crappier. Anyway, Keeper is another card you probably should know what's up but in case you don't know, this is a Dark Dragon level 4, 0 attack, 2100 defense. Big ass. 1, this card can be treated as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a dragon while this card's in your hand or graveyard. If a face-up dragon monster on the field except Shrine is sent to the graveyard by a card effect or because it was destroyed by battle, special summon this card. Then, if that monster sent to the graveyard is a normal monster, you can add a dragon normal monster from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect of Keeper once per turn. Great card. A phenomenally annoying guy to get rid of. Because basically, as long as you can keep putting out dragons and your opponent doesn't, like, banish this guy or shuffle him back, he keeps coming back. And if you're playing normal dragons, you get to recycle them to your hand. Phenomenal member of the team.
Plus.
He's good. Probably not as good as stuff nowadays, but still pretty good.
Yeah. And honestly, I think if you were playing certain kinds of dragon decks, you'd still play him. And then the rest of my notes for our time being are focused on just a lot of the generic dragon support cards they've printed over the years, many of which were reprinted and collected in the Felgrand structure decks. Because like I said, Felgrand never really came together. Like, they never really solidified him into a proper archetype. It was all just more engine to make dragons of a particular level work. But obviously, because dragons have been a strong runner of powerful cards since the very beginning, there's a lot of dragon support out there. Starting with, in this case, and obviously, like I said, we are just gonna kind of schmoove unfocused. So on the off chance we do run over time, Axe, feel free to just, say your goodbyes and head out. We're just gonna be kind of in the slush right now.
Sure, that's fine.
Yes, this one.
I feel weird about it because it's like I'm probably just hopping into another thing, but I promised I'd be for something else.
It's fine. It's fine.
Because I asked because I couldn't do it yesterday. So yeah.
I will, and this is not me trying to be like sarcastic. I will not shame you for double booking. It's just like you said, stuff comes up. I probably would have faffed less if you said something earlier, but it's okay. We got through our core cards, and now we are just in the zone of like, well, we've only been here an hour and a half. We can kill some extra time with some dragon cards. Wingbeat a Giant Dragon is a normal spell that says return a level 5 or higher dragon-type monster you control in the hand. If you do, destroy all spell traps on the field. It is dragon-themed Heavy Storm. It has been played several times in history. Isn't really played these days, but its last reprint was in the Rise of the True Dragons, which was the retrained version of that structure deck I mentioned before. So, is just a guy. He does the thing.
I associate this card with Omega.
Yeah. Oh, actually, hold on. I just realized. Is there a standalone card art? Nah, there's a very tiny transparency. Sorry, I was going to check if there's good res of the Dragon Lord token art. There's not.
I hit a button wrong.
Okay, Wingbeats. Yeah, but Wingbeat is basically dragon-themed Heavy Storm. Perfectly useful, especially when Storm was limited and banned. So if they get Heavy Storm, you may be asking, chat, do dragons also get MST? Also, by the way, that's Tyrant Dragon on the cover. He's in a lot of these cards for some reason. This is Stamping Destruction. Another mainstay of the earlier phases of our Prague series.
Yep.
Yes, this is canonical Tyrant Dragon feet picks. Look at his grippers, or perhaps his stampers, chat.
I hate you.
Omega, I hope you understand that there's going to be a place for you in some afterlife.
Yeah.
I know you'll just believe it. You'll just believe it to the point where it don't matter, but
Listen, we're what you call it? We're just generating interest. We're generating hype with the chat. It's okay, they're not reacting either. I don't know if you don't know what Stamping Destruction does, chat, but hopefully you do. If you control a dragon, target a spell trap, destroy it if you do inflict 500. It's not a quick play like MST, but it is spot removal for traps, and it does do a little bit of damage on top. This has actually mattered before. You don't really play Stamping these days. I mean, I do in some decks, but that's just because, like I said, Chat, you need spell trap removal. You need it. And
yeah, as much as I would like to not.
Lightning Storm is limited 2 in Master Duel, and you can only play 1 Feather Duster and 1 Heavy Storm. So, I have played cards like MST and Twin Twister and other shit before to, facilitate my need to remove back row, because you can't always draw exactly 4 cards in your extra deck. And chat, once your opponent sets back row, most hand traps don't do shit. Maxi doesn't do anything when once your opponent has started setting Dynamorphia cards. Dynamorphia is another deck that some people are ride or die on, and I think it's just because they unfortunately gave them a skill drain. Anyway, speaking of more cards in our Tyrant Dragon series, I should probably grab the original Tyrant Dragon. I forgot how much he's in these, but Dragon's Gunfire. And that does have an apostrophe S in there. Though, interestingly, its name's a lot longer in Japanese. It's Karyu no Kaendan, Fire Dragon's Blaze Blast. But this is another, generic dragon card. This is another normal spell that says if you control a dragon, activate one of these effects. This is, by the way, a very old-school card. This is Legacy of Darkness. A very old-school card that actually has 2 pickable effects. 1, you can inflict 800 damage to your opponent, so it's an Okazi. Or target a monster with 800 less defense, destroy it. So, could be a... not a Smashing Ground, but there's another effect that, blows up your opponent's monster with, the least defense. But given that a lot of, really strong cards back in the day did not have huge defenses, and sometimes still don't, this card can still be very useful. I imagine that if Konami were smart about things, this card could have come back in the meta when links were super popular, but unfortunately... hold it. Sorry, I knew it was coming. I was like, hold it. All right, the sneeze is done. Ooh, my shoulders, though. But no, this is the thing we've always consistently said, is Konami decided to handle links in rules-wise in the silliest way possible. They did not print them a defense stat, so they just don't interact with it. I should say that they should count as having 0 defense at all times as a result, but they don't. But that would probably make Dragon's Gunfire very funny in the previous, but they didn't do that, so it's a card that's, very outdated. That's right. They did reprint this a shitload of times in Mystic Fighters, but you trust me, chat, you don't play Dragon's Gunfire in Dragon Maid. It does not work.
Wouldn't they have better options anyway?
Dragon Maid actually has very good removal tricks. Yeah, they have a couple of ways to, tidying returns opponent's monsters to hand and shit like that. And I understand, time card, etc. You really don't need to do the 8-hundo. Once again, if you're playing a dragon deck that can make level 7s, you know who's a great time card? Red Ice Flare Metal Dragon. Your opponent does anything, they lose 5-hundo. They're cooked after a while. But back in the day, Gunfire, I think, was a very strong option for some stuff.
It was used, but sadly we got better options.
Yeah. Let me see. Is this also, though, got... I think this has Tyrant Dragon on it. So this might be our last Tyrant Dragon card. So I will pull him up after that just to show you and remind you what he's up to. Yeah. So this is another funny haha dragon support card. This is actually a trap, though. This is the Dragon's Bead. Dragon no Hoju. This is a card that has not been printed since 2005. And you can tell because it doesn't have PCST.
Old card.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not an incorrect drawing of Tyrant Dragon, but the perspective is a little off. But this is another generic Dragon support card. This is a continuous trap that says, discard a card from your hand, negate the effect of a trap card that targets one face-up Dragon-type monster, and destroy the trap card. That's basically Tyrant Dragon's effect anyway. Tyrant Dragon negates any traps that target it. This basically puts that on any card. It wasn't super great back in the day. It was a cute idea, but you had to discard for cost, which could be a pain in the ass. And nowadays, obviously, there are much better ways to protect your dragons. But it is really interesting to me that they did get out there and give dragons these extra, like, tools. And so let me actually pull up Tyrant Dragon. He's really generic. He's like could be an illustration of a dragon from any point in the I would say 80s, 90s, and today. That's a joke about the oldie stations we used to listen to when we'd go boating. But yeah, Tyrant Dragon is a classic guy. I'm pretty sure he is from... okay, no. Anime only. But it does show up in the anime. But is another old school of Dragon decks, reprinted in speed duels, run through a couple of things. He is a Dragon Brain Dragon. Also, that's right, Zen. You are correct. You could say Stamping is also a time card because it's 500. Probably a better time card in this case.
The funniest part about all of this to me is that part of me is looking at the way the gem is shining on his forehead, and I just think it's some weird art error where it's it's the eye on the other side of the face, but they just drew
No, he has a bead in the middle of his forehead, but you're correct. It does look silly. Tyrant Dragon is a level 8 fire type dragon. 2900 attack, 2500 defense, so similar in theme to Felgrand. During your battle phase, if your opponent controls a monster after this card's first attack, it can make a second attack. I think that's got to be pre-PC. No, that survived PCST? There's got to be a better way to write that it can make a second attack in a row. But anyway, Tyrant Dragon can make 2 attacks on monsters. You negate any trap effects that target this card on the field, and if you do, destroy them. Also, it can't be special summoned from your graveyard unless you tribute a dragon monster. So, you can special summon it from your hand, but not from your graveyard. But still, very, very strong guy. In kind of, I think, set the tone of generic dragon stuff, because again, this was in 8. They did not. Oh, they did reprint him for Rise of the Dragon Lords in 2007, so they knew what was up. And now we're going to get another classic dragon card, but this one features a different guy. And this is the classic Dragon's Rage. Sorry, I feel like I should say that like I'm, an arcade cabinet in attract mode. Dragon's Rage.
Perfect.
Or in Japanese, Ryuno Gekirin, Dragon's Imperial Wrath. The monster on this card is a dragon dwelling in the cave, which is a 2K defender, so I don't think his wrath is very Imperial, chat. But Dragon's Rage is a fairly iconic card that does have some historicity to it. This is a continuous trap card that says, if a dragon attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing. So just all your dragons get piercing in trap card form, which is a little slow these days, but again, very strong back in the day. Printed in a couple of structure decks. And most importantly, this card does set history. This is the first trap card effect let alone continuous trap card effect, to offer piercing damage. Piercing used to be fairly rare as either a specific monster effect or on very certain spell cards like Fairy Meteor Crush. And Dragon's Rage is just a continuous trap that says...
General,
yes,
Rampart, Ballista.
Mad Sword Beast, I think, was like the first piercing monster ever. But yeah, Dragon's Rage is just... gives all your dragons piercing, which back in the day could be very powerful. If you could set this up correctly, this is a great way to wrap up the game. Yeah, he's out of the effective sword shield, thank you.
I put a GIF in chat. Axe will get it, but it's what this trap card image reminds me of. Busted through the wall.
Zombie.
It was a Toku GIF chat, in case you couldn't guess.
Yeah.
It does seem appropriate.
For those who know, it's Kamen Rider XA. Well, Dangerous Zombie, but yeah.
I just think of like Wish in the Dark because that song's good.
And now this is next we go to a trap card that's very special to me. Go ahead, Luff.
So just getting a proper good look. This looks more like a dinosaur than a dragon.
Well, that was a point of confusion back in the day, as I found out when I looked up Tyrant Dragon. Tyrant Dragon comes from a long line of history of giant dragon monsters that were originally played by Rex Raptor in the anime because they were bad at typing. But yeah, so like looking that way is probably not crazy. This one is really weird because like they did a really weird blurring effect. I think it's to like try and make him look like he's more in motion, but it's just blurring like his nose and his bottom jaw. So I'm not sure I get it. Or does he have like a horn on his top that is broken, but his lower jaw is definitely blurry, right? I don't know. There's something weird going on here. My eyes don't like it. And it's funny because Dragon Dwelling in the Cave is just a side shot of this guy's head. But as I said, we're now going to talk about a trap card that is memorable to me exactly and no one else. Not entirely true. Some people may remember it, but this is Burst Breath. Burst Breath. Burst Breath, in case you don't know, depicts Fiend Skull Dragon, a really weird dragon fusion monster of Cave Dragon and Lesser Fiend. And fusion summoned, which requires Fiend Skull Dragon is a level 5 wind fusion. It requires only those monsters to be fusion summoned. It is also technically an Archfiend because it was Death Daemon Dragon. But it negates the effect of all flip monsters, and it has that Tyrant Dragon effect to negate trap cards that target it. Or try to negate trap effects that target it. Very funny little guy. Who I liked to... back in the day, I liked to cheat out with Metamorphosis because one of its fusion materials, Lesser Fiend, is the same level as him, and I didn't own a Cave Dragon as a kid. Anyway. Burst Breath is a trap card that shows him on it doing a Burst Breath. And yes, he does have 4 arms because Lesser Fiend, which was Lesser Daemon, has it. So it's an odd little card, but this is another one of them generic dragon toolkit cards. Burst Breath says, tribute a dragon-type monster, destroy a face-up monster in the field whose defense is less than or equal to the attack of the tributed monster. So dragons don't really have a Icarus attack, but hypothetically, if you wanted a similar role, Burst Breath could be used that way. It's only monsters, so I don't think it's as popular, but it's definitely a funny little trick to bust out when somebody is least expecting. Tribute a dragon, blow up everything on the field that's got low def. And again, considering how big dragons can get, can be very potent. Very potentate. Yeah, I was pretty sure it showed up a couple of times in the anime. Now, is this... Okay, so this card was not printed until way later. Yeah, so that's actually... We'll skip that. That's definitely more anime related. I thought that was more directly related, but I was thinking about showing Tyrant's Wing chat, but it's really that is actually a anime specific effect that was not printed until they started doing Legends of Dragon.
Oh, I'm going. Have fun.
All right. Next.
Like,
We are almost done anyway, so it's like I said, it's not a big deal.
yeah.
We got one more Kado. And this is another generic dragon thing that I don't understand why it exists, but this came out way later. This is Dragon's Bind.
Oh no, not this thing.
Yeah, Seiya Ryu is
This
pictured on
one
this.
of the- This is in an early cube from memory.
Yeah.
I think I remember you putting this in an early cube, and I went, "Oh, let's grab this," and it was awful.
Yeah, this is a weird Dragon Floodgate. Why does it have Seiya Ryu on it? I don't know. Dragon's Bind is a continuous trap card that says, activate this card by targeting a Dragon-type monster you control with 2,500 or less attack and defense, which Seiya Ryu counts as. Neither player can special summon a monster with less attack or less than or equal attack of the original attack of that monster. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. This came out in 2016. I do not know why they decided to give dragons a specific floodgate like this. You do occasionally see it when people are playing stun, but it's very rare. But it did have, like I said, has Seiya Ryu on it, Holy Knight Dragon, and I don't know why it exists. It was not in the anime. You might think, oh, this has got to be an anime card. No, it's been reprinted effectively once. It was a common in Breakers of Shadow and was a common in the Megatin for that year. That's it. Hasn't been printed since. I don't think Konami remembers they made this. So yeah, it's just a really weird one. But that is most of our generic dragon run. So that's where we'll call the day on dragons.
One of the reasons why Dragon decks was so good, they had really decent generic cards for them.
Yeah, like you said, between, Wing Beat, Burst Breath, Gunfire, Stamping, like, Dragon decks basically got to run extra copies of a lot of generic spell cards, and also had good monsters. So, it's funny to kind of go back and, like I said, see how Konami kept supporting that style, but also kind of how these guys have like, drifted away. Since the Rocket structure deck and the addition of Rockets and Borals, Dragon Link decks have really gone their own way. But I'll ribber wrap this up. So we could probably schedule a cube sometime in the not too distant future. But also I want to bring up, no, it's admittedly between just me and Loth. But we could also, because Crossover Breakers launched, we should probably go back to our discussion of deck build packs and talk about the new archetypes like Ryziel, Malice, Ryuge. So we will probably try and schedule that sometime in the next, few weeks somewhere. I don't want to, plan ahead of time which one we're going to do first without checking with the others, so I will, mention it off-stream to them. We do have another Fail Portrayal poll up. The poll is up. We got a few things out there, but what's tied right now is, once again, Paleozoic and Millennium/Forbidden One are currently tied at 3. But you got about 10 days left, almost. Well, you got exactly 10 days. That's kind of between a week and 2 weeks. But you can vote there, and you can't fuck over Loth on this one, because he didn't put one in this time. I picked another generic one from the backlog.
Yeah, I specifically told Omega I'm tired.
Yeah, because
I can't do it anymore.
Loth says something funny for his pick on stream, and then it keeps winning, so he's out of juice. You guys picked Lord of D and Impachi, back to back.
Which, I'm grateful we picked Impachi.
Yes.
Like,
I also think, technically you did, a hat trick as well, and then, the one before Impachi or something was, an actual real archetype you picked, too. So, yeah.
I feel like we're running out of archetypes / things to discuss on...
We're not really, but,
It feels like it to me.
our wish list of things we're interested in talking about, I think, is getting a little slimmer. We got to like think harder. But I work with what I got, and we'll figure out other shit. But I am gonna let you guys go now, chat. Again, sorry for the scuff. Like I said, I'm still trying to like troubleshoot if I can force the connection to be good. But I literally unplugged and reset my router today, and it did not change the scuff. So I guess we'll see what tomorrow is like. But we should be back to Final Fantasy XIV tomorrow for something. If you didn't see it, check out Monday's stream. Lucky and I beat Halo Anniversary. We finished. And next week, because as I said, things continue to be weird over here with my connection, we'll probably be starting Halo 2 Anniversary, so be ready to check those out. That's everything from me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I guess I'll see you guys later.